Good morning, ladies. Today for CGI, we're going to be focusing on the word problem in front of you. So Julie's yard is rectangular. One side of the yard is 100 feet wide. The total area of the yard is 3,000 square feet. What is the length of the other side of the yard? So I'm going to read through it one more time before marking it up. And I want you to really be focusing on some of those key points in the word problem, words that you think stand out, quantities that stand out, what they represent, what our question is that we're trying to solve. All right, so this time I really want you to be thinking about those important details. So Julie's yard is rectangular. One side of the yard is 100 feet wide. The total area of the yard is 3,000 square feet. What is the length of the other side of the yard? All right, so we know that Julie's yard is a rectangle, okay? So her yard is a rectangle. We'll put that up here. One side of her yard is 100 feet wide, okay? So we've got one side that's 100 feet wide. And then another important part is going to be the total area is 3,000 square feet. So the total area of the yard is 3,000 square feet. And then our question that we're solving for is what is the length of the other side of the yard? So we know how wide the yard is, but we don't necessarily know the length of the yard. So today we're going to be searching for that length. And then just kind of a reminder, so looking at our rectangle up at the top, so our length is going to be how long the yard is. And then our width is going to be how wide, how wide the yard is. I can't move it. And then the square footage, so that part in the center, so this is going to be that area, the inside. So we know the green and we know this kind of light purple, but we don't know the yellow, which is our length. So I really want you to make sure that when you're solving this problem, that you create a visual, that you have that rectangle drawn on your paper, and you think about what the formula is. Okay, so what is our formula to solve for area? All right, so we know that area, we know the width, we're trying to figure out the length. All right, so at this point, you're going to be using your CGI strategies to solve for the length of the yard. Make sure that in your planning section, you have that rectangle drawn as your visual, and then you have your quantities listed out, what they represent, be super specific and detailed. Also making sure that you have your number sentence with your variable, and then in the planning or in the solving section, working through that problem and then making sure you are checking it. Don't forget to write your answer out with the unit, what it is that we're representing, and then finally, what is the number sentence in its entirety that matches the word problem. So at this point, go ahead and you're going to pause your screen, solve on your own, and then when you're finished, come back, unpause, and we will solve together. All right, so now you should have already solved this problem. So we're going to be going through and solving it together so that you can check your work. So you'll notice up here I have that the 100 represents the total width of the yard. And that word wide tells us that this is the width. Then we have 3,000, and that's going to be the area of the yard. So that inside portion is going to be the area. This side is going to be the width, and we're focusing on the length. We want to know what that length is. So first thing is super important. We know that the formula for finding area is going to be length times width. So what I suggest that we do is we figure out what each of these are. So our length we don't know. Our width is 300. And then our area is 3,000. Okay, so if we're looking at this problem, something times 300 is going to give me 3,000. But we also know the opposite of multiplication is division. So what we can do is we can turn this around to figure out what 3,000 divided by 300 is going to give us. And we'll do a couple different strategies for this. So we have 3,000, and we're going to divide that by 300. All right, so we have 3,000 divided by 300. So let's see. Oops, not 300. Silly. This is 100. This is 100. So our width is 100, not 300. So we're taking something times 100, which equals 3,000. So we turn that around and do 3,000 divided by 100 to figure this out. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using kind of that cross-off method where we find our basic fact. So our basic fact is going to be this 3 and this 1. Okay, so 1 can go into 3 times. And then we look at the number that we're dividing by, which is 100, and we're going to cross off the 2 zeros we have here, which means we're going to cross off 2 zeros that we have here. The 0 we have left gets added to our answer, which means that our length would be 30 yards. Okay, and we can also solve this by doing kind of that standard algorithm of 3,000 divided by 100. We know that 100 can't go into 30. So 100 is going to go into 300 3 times. We subtract, bring down that 0. 100 can't go into 0, so our answer is 30. With a problem like this, it's important that we either kind of look at it and say, okay, I know that 1 times that 3 is going to give me a 3 here. I have 2 zeros, I need 1 more. Okay, so 30 times 100 would give me 3,000. It's also really important to know your formulas. We know that length times width gives us area. We had our width of 100 and we had our area. So just looking at that problem, knowing the opposite of multiplication is division, we're using dividing to find our answer. We can also check our work by taking 100 times 30. And this is going to be used the same way. You're finding your basic fact, which is 1 and 3. And then you have 1, 2, 3 zeros that you add to your answer. So my answer for what is the length of the other side of the yard, our length is going to be 30 yards. And then my number sentence can be a variety of different things. We can do 100 times 30 equals 3,000 because looking at this, you can solve it mentally. It can also be 3,000 divided by 100 gives me 30. Any of those would work for solving your problem and would match your number sentence. So great job today. Check back tomorrow for another CGI lesson.